Hey everyone! Today we're going to talk about refraction of light. So before we talk about what refraction is, we need to talk about light and specifically the speed of light. So light, as you probably know, travels really fast. And specifically it travels about 300 million meters per second. Now that's a really big number in 1 second. But what that means is that if we could travel the speed of light, we could go around the entire Earth 7.5 times in 1 second. So it's very fast. Now, that's the speed of light in air or in a vacuum. It's slightly different, but it's basically the same. If we look at light in water, it goes quite a bit slower. It goes about 225 million meters per second. So that's about 25% slower. It's still very fast, but it's slower enough that we can see it take place. So, for example, if I have a little container of water, well, first of all, you can see my fingers on the other side look not the right size as we think they should. But if we have a container of water and we put a chopstick or something straight in there, you can see it kind of bends, right? And you've probably seen this before with a straw or something, but maybe you didn't notice it, but that's refraction of light. So the light is traveling really fast up here in the air, and it's traveling really fast but not quite as fast in the water. And so that difference makes the light bend. And that's what we call refraction. So here's one other experiment you can do at home. You can certainly do that stick or fork or something in a little container of water, but you can also flip things around in the way that we see them. So, very simple experiment. What you're going to need is a jar. It can be either a round jar or it can have sort of more flat sides. In my experience, I think the round ones work a little bit better. You're also going to need water to put into the jar. So I just have another jar with water. And you're going to need something, an image, that you want to flip backwards. So I made this nice Leshai logo. And so let's see this in action. We're going to see what happens when we try to refract the light in front of the Leshai logo. So let's go see how that works. Here we have our Leshai school logo facing the correct direction. I'm going to put a round jar in front of it, and you can see it's not clear anymore, but it's at least facing the right direction. Now I'm going to pour water into this jar, and we're going to see what happens. Flips. Cool, huh? Yep. So that's a pretty cool experiment, and it can be done pretty much anywhere as long as you have a container with water and an image that you want to flip. One little tip is not to have the container too close to the image. So if, I'll use the one with water in it. So if you have the container right next to the image, right up close, it doesn't flip quite as much, quite as visibly as if it's further away. So if you're trying this at home and you are having some trouble, try different distances between the container and the image. Now, what we observed there is really that light travels at different speeds in different substances. So if we have our jar with no water in it, it looks just as it would without the jar, except for the jar kind of messing it up a little bit. But then when we add the jar with water, it flips. So that is evidence that the light is traveling at a different speed through these different substances. So I hope you enjoyed that experiment. Pretty easy to do at home. I hope you give it a try, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much.